One of the beauties of the Catholic Volunteer Network and our member programs is it's not just about the volunteering or the service that they provide, but it's also about their own spiritual growth, their faith formation. Many of our programs offer opportunities to explore one's spirituality, to live in community with other volunteers, sometimes with religious or people they're working with. Opportunities to explore a simple lifestyle, to see what it is to live without the distractions that so many of us have in our lives, and perhaps in some cases to live a little more closely like the people whom they're serving. So there's so much involved in our programs that goes beyond just the normal volunteer experience.
I ministered with Criminal Justice Ministry, which is a program of St. Vincent de Paul Society. We worked with men and some women that were coming out of prison, helped them move into apartments, and helped them kind of reintegrate into society.
I was with the Jesuit Volunteer Corps Northwest, and I was in Anchorage, Alaska for my year of service, and I was working at Beans Cafe, which is a soup kitchen and day shelter for homeless. And we had a social services office at the soup kitchen where I worked. So it was a lot of direct contact with the homeless population, a lot of distributing things to meet immediate needs, handing out dry socks, toothbrushes, soap, distributing mail, giving van rides, kind of whatever needed to be done. And it was neat to really build those personal relationships with the homeless population.
It really helped me to see the men as not just not labeling them as being bad, but see them as really a brother in Christ, and also a human being worthy of dignity that they had been so long neglected of.
During my senior year, I was discerning actually religious life, and I was talking to my campus minister, who was a Holy Cross priest, and he suggested that I should go on and do more service besides what was required for our school, and that's how I got involved with the associate program.
The volunteer program that I did during my year of service was called the Colorado Vincentian Volunteers, and it's a year of inviting you in to live in solidarity with those who are experiencing homelessness or are poor, in the spirit of St. Vincent de Paul and Louise de Merlac. There was, during my year, 19 volunteers, so between two houses, and you had intentional community, prayer life, time for reflection, mass, growth, and just time to really be with your community and then learn about yourself as well. And then the aspect of ministry came in with direct service and advocacy of working at Mount St. Vincent Home, which helps kids that have been abused or neglected try to live a better life. Life gets better. And I just thought that really spoke to me, and I could see that they, in their ministry with the 4 pillars of Catholic social teaching, were really working on the 2 feet of service, direct service and advocacy, but also the systemic thinking, systemic change. And I really wanted to be a part of making a difference in the world.
The heart of a disciple is shaped by generosity. Generosity is a grace to be prayed for and desired by anyone who hears the call of the Lord. It is the first step in putting on the generous heart of Christ.
Working with children who were disadvantaged really helped me see that there was more to this world than my little box that I was living in. When I went to the University of Portland, it's a private school, and there was a certain economic class level, and so it was just structured where that's all you saw. And going over to Brockton, Massachusetts, and working with these children and the parents and the faculty really made me aware of there was more to life than what my little world was actually included.
I was experiencing it not in a textbook, but in person. I was meeting the poor in hand, experiencing the kids I was working with, by just being present to their needs through the day.
And I lived in community with 7 other volunteers in the program and had a really great experience of community life. We were very intentional in our relationships and sharing regular community nights and spirituality nights, and really engaging in conversations about what we are experiencing and questions about social justice and spirituality and the struggles of 8 different personalities trying to get along and live under one roof on a very limited budget. But it was a very rich, beautiful experience.
Because so often in our culture, it's me against the world. And to see this more of a community of people together and to give them the time that they deserve, no matter what situation they're in, whether they're a board member at school or just a child that I work with at school. It's somebody that's worthy of my time and that I need to have that prayer focusing me so that I can try to be more attentive to them and their needs, and whether it be just to talk or somebody that needs a prayer in their life.
Volunteer service really has a lifelong impact on their life, much more than just the time that they're serving as volunteers. They go on to be committed people in their church communities, in their civic communities, in their charitable giving. In so many ways, in almost every category, the alumni of the faith-based volunteer programs that are part of Catholic Volunteer Network exceed those of the general population. So as part of that, we also learned that a lot more of our volunteers, or the people who have gone through our programs, have considered religious life. We think it's important, and it fits in with the mission of Catholic Volunteer Network to help people see, where is God calling me in life? How can I best live out my baptismal call to holiness? And I'm particularly concerned with this project that we find ways to enhance the vitality of women's religious life here in the United States, in whatever ways that may happen.
I actually did start thinking about vocation during my volunteer experience previously. I hadn't thought about being a sister or a vocation in general. So I had decided, and when I met the Daughters of Charity who sponsored my program, and also the sisters that I worked with who were in different congregations, they really opened me up to the idea of being, that these sisters were normal, that they had ups and downs like I did. They had great joy in their life, but that helped them deal with that better, and I felt like I could have that joy.
Coming out of college, I wanted a deeper experience of community living and of doing service. I really felt like I was at a crossroads in my life where I wasn't tied down to a job or a place or a career, so I thought it was really the good opportunity to explore that deeper. So that's really what took me to explore a volunteer program.
The way I began to start thinking of my vocation in another way during my CBV year was really towards the second half of my Colorado Vincentian volunteer year. Everybody was starting to think about the future, about what they're going to do next, and I'm like, I don't know what to do next. Like, I just want to go and be where God needs me to be. And it got me thinking about the sister that I had met at Mount St. Vincent Home and the work that they were doing there with the kids that had been abused and neglected. And I'm like, wow, like, people of the church aren't like off doing these huge theological like things. Not that those aren't good, but they're actually working with the poor and experiencing them and where they are, meeting them where they're at.
One of the fathers had told me to live simply so others may simply live. And I think that was really ingrained in my head, so that when I went back after doing a year's worth of volunteer service, I had to take a look at my life and find out what was actually more meaningful to me than just the actual needs, TV, bikes, whatever. So that really helped me focus on my faith.
Like, it's very easy in our world, in our society today, just to go into autopilot and just to kind of follow the mainstream. Oh, I graduated from college. Oh, I'm supposed to, start a career. Oh, I've been dating this person. I'm supposed to get married now. And just trying to turn off that autopilot and really take time to discern each step, and not just discernment in vocation, but discernment in ministry, and constantly asking, where is God calling me to now, and intentionally choosing how to live my life based on where I think God is calling me, rather than just doing the norm that society expects. So living with that intentionality, I think, is what I hope to continue carrying from my experience.
But I think a moment that I had in serving one of the kids that I worked with at Mount St. Vincent Home was, she had come in, she was a new student at Mount St. Vincent Home, a new kiddo that we were serving residentially, and she was afraid of me, and I was like, why is she afraid of me? I was like, I'm bringing presents, hopefully I'm giving her space. And I was told that apparently I looked a lot like her mom, who was her abuser. And I immediately was like, oh my gosh, well, I can't change, the way I look. I can't change that, but maybe I can just give her the space, the presence that, she needs right now, to allow me to be at a distance, but her to see that, I am a nice, caring person. So I'd help the other kids, and after a few weeks, she finally came up to me and she said, I was really scared of you, but you're not scary anymore. And I just feel like that was, that's a transformation not only for her, but for me to be witness that the face of Christ was right there, that you have, I guess, humanity and a real human face to Christ working and living in the world.
Part of the program that really helped me was the apostolic reflection piece, so going home and talking about your day of service and saying where did you find God in those the moments of your day, and seeing how that also could be applied to your life at another time. How you could, if it was a bad situation, how could you deal with that differently? So really putting God into that experience that you may not have seen at first.
I think if a woman or a man is discerning religious life or priesthood, I really think they need to broaden out their search and also to communicate with other people, whether it be their pastor at their church, family members, friends, other people in their groups, if they're involved in youth groups or not. I think that's the most important, is to communicate with other people.
I just have a lot of hope for our church. I think our young people have a lot of great voices. They have a lot of great wisdom, and they want to bring about that systemic change that I think the church has been waiting for a long time. So let's stop waiting and let's start doing.
37% of the alumni said that they had either very seriously or somewhat seriously considered religious life or priesthood as an option for them. And of those 37%, 48% did so while they were in volunteer service, which shows me that it's a natural connection between service and religious life or priesthood or ministry. We've called this project, that's being funded by the Conrad Hilton Foundation, From Service to Sisterhood, to show that transition from volunteer service to the potential for a lifelong commitment. And that's really what this project is about.
God bless.